Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jason. I am a customer service representative with the Assessment Review Commission. I'd like to thank Legislator Drucker for inviting me to speak with you tonight to help you learn how to file a grievance against assessment online for free without the need to hire a company to do it for you. I don't know if the legislator is available. Rob, is the legislator available with us this evening?
Not at the moment. When he joins us, we'll bring him into the conversation.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Rob. Okay, so before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone to take advantage of the Q&A, the question and answer feature of our online event. If you have any questions, just please enter them into the Q&A, and we'll address as many of those as we can at the end of the presentation. Just so you know, there is a little bit of a delay between when we speak and when we broadcast and when the video feed gets to you. So we don't get your questions instantaneously, and that's why we'll hold those until the end of the presentation and cover as many of those as we can. And we'll also go ahead when we have the opportunity and bring the legislator in to greet everyone and say hello. But let's go ahead and get started. What you're seeing on your screen right now is our department's website for the Assessment Review Commission, and this is going to be the launch pad, if you will, the starting point for everything that you're going to do to file the appeal against your assessment. So it's an important website to write down. That website is askarcnassau.com, and we're going to pause just for a moment here. I see, I think that the Legislator Drucker has joined us, and we'd like to welcome Legislator Drucker. Legislator, if you'll unmute your microphone, we'll go ahead and let you say a few words to everybody.
Sorry about that. So thank you very much. Is this Jason?
Yes, sir.
Jason, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I want to thank everyone for joining this evening. This is something that's wonderful that the Nassau County Assessment Review Commission does to help taxpayers really understand the process of grieving your taxes. You know, we have undergone a reassessment of 400,000 properties in Nassau County over the past couple of years. And although assessments are becoming more accurate, there is still an opportunity for people who feel that their tax assessment, their assessment is inaccurate to grieve them, and the process is relatively routine and very simple. And you don't have to spend thousands of dollars with the tax grievance firms to do so. Nassau County Assessment Review Commission, Jason and people who have done this before are able to explain this process in a very, very cogent, clear way. And I want to thank them for taking the time to do that. I welcome every one of you to follow up with any questions, and you can follow up with my office as well. So have a very good evening. Pay attention, but I think you're going to come out of this with a tremendous amount of knowledge and understanding of the process. So take it away, Jason, and thanks again for doing this.
Okay, thank you very much, Legislator Drucker. We appreciate it. Thank you for that. Okay, so what you're seeing on your screen, as I said, is the homepage for our department at the Assessment Review Commission. Please write down this website. It's askarcnassau.com, askarcnassau.com. That will be the starting point for everything we're going to do to appeal our assessment. Now, one thing you'll note here that you can see on the screen, we actually have an abbreviated instructional video at our department's website. It's less than 7 minutes long. So if you have some questions and you don't remember some of the things that we went over tonight together, you can always view this video that's less than 7 minutes here on our website for kind of a refresher course on how to appeal your assessment. Here we have some phone numbers and some important dates for you to make note of. If you have any questions or concerns, or kind of get stuck with filling out the application to appeal the assessment, you can always call the Assessment Review Commission's customer service line. We're at 516-571-3214, and any of us that answer the phone will be happy to assist you. Please note that the deadline for filing your appeal has already been extended to April 30th, but that is absolutely the deadline, and I definitely encourage everyone to don't wait till the last minute. Sometimes when a bunch of folks go to the same computer website, especially a site like ours that does an application, and try to use it all at the same time, the system can get bogged down, and you don't want to end up being in that position. So the application will not take you very long at all, but the deadline is absolutely April 30th of this year. Okay. Inside of our website is a system called Arrow that stands for Assessment Review on the Web, and that is the utility that the county provides for you to grieve, appeal, challenge, whatever word you'd like to use, appeal your assessment. You'll see throughout the presentation that we'll highlight things to bring your attention for you to look out in with yellow arrows and red boxes. You can actually see that here. You can actually see that here. We have the Arrow website highlighted for you on the left-hand side of your screen. So to access Arrow, you'll click that link on the left-hand side where it says Arrow. And that will bring you to the Arrow page. You'll see where it says, Welcome to Arrow Assessment Review on the Web. Now, the first thing that you'll want to do when you file with Arrow, using Arrow for the first time, is to register with us, and you're going to create a unique identity on Arrow to appeal your assessment. There's a link on the left-hand side that says Register with ARC, Register with the Assessment Review Commission, and you'll click that. Once you've clicked Register with ARC, it will bring you to this form to fill out. Please notice that anything with an asterisk is a required field, such as your name, your phone number, etc. You also are required to give us a valid email address. Now, please notice that we're offering two options for communication. You can only select one, electronic communication or paper. What that means is when we send you an answer to your appeal, this is how we're going to communicate with one another. Now, we in customer service definitely recommend that you use electronic communication. If you can fill out this application online, don't be scared of getting an email notification and an email response from us. The biggest benefit to you is that your notification can never be lost in the mail, and we definitely don't want that to happen and potentially miss deadlines that we both have to obey together. So we suggest electronic communication. You'll enter then your valid email address, and you're going to create a unique user ID and password for using Arrow. Now, you'll only end up logging into Arrow when you file the appeal, and then maybe 2 or 3 times more throughout the year. So when we don't use certain websites that we log into on a constant basis, none of us are really good at remembering the username and password. So I suggest that you write down the user ID and password somewhere safe, maybe an old tax bill, 3x5 card, tape it to the side of the fridge, or keep it with your important documents so you don't lose it. Please be advised that the user ID and password are both case sensitive. So however you enter them when you register is going to be the same way you have to enter them in the future. Once you've completed this information, you'll just click the box at the bottom that's yellow that says Complete Registration. The system will then tell you thank you for the registration. Please click here to continue. We also advise you that especially if you're using a public computer, like at a friend or family member's house or at the library, you definitely want to click Log Out, which we have circled in yellow, when you're done working with the system. Arrow will also send you an email confirming your registration. And this part, I think, is a little bit important. You want to be on the lookout for this email right after you register and find it inside of your email account. It'll look something like this, but maybe slightly different in color and whatnot based on what email service you use. But you want to make sure that this email does not show up in your spam folder. And if it does, you want to mark it correctly that it is not spam, because this is the same system that's going to email when you have communication from us in the future. Now, if you're coming back to a computer to log in or checking something later, to log in, you'll just click the link on the left-hand side that says login. That will then give a pop-up box that you see toward the bottom center of your screen, and you're going to enter the user ID and password that you created, and then click the button that says login. Now we're going to go over two different methods for filing your appeal through the Arrow system. The first method we're going to use is using the Sales Locator tool. Now, Sales Locator is a utility tool that we provide that assists you in finding homes that have sold to compare to your home to help you prove that your home has been overassessed. The system supports 1, 2, and 3 family homes, but it does not support condominiums or co-ops. Sales Locator provides adjusted sales prices of the properties that are comparable to yours, and that helps you determine if your property is overvalued. So to get started, you can click in one of two places. We have circled in red toward the bottom of your screen. You can click, do you have a good case for filing an appeal? There's also a link on the left-hand side underneath login that says Sales Locator. Clicking either of those will take you to the Sales Locator. Now, when you first enter Sales Locator, you're going to have to enter in your property. What you'll do is enter in, I find it the easiest way is just by merely entering your property's address. But county computer systems, because they integrate with large databases, can be a little finicky. So the best method that I have found that I suggest to homeowners is enter the house number, the name of the street, and the name only. Don't enter road, street, avenue, any of those things. Just the name of the street. So the number, the name of the street, and just the zip code. Those 3 items will find your property. You'll just click search after entering those items. That will return a list that you'll see in the yellow bar. You'll see your property address. And to the left, you'll see your parcel ID number, which is a unique identifier for your property. It's made up of the numbers from your section, block, and lot. Now the parcel ID here is actually a link, so you'll click that. We have it for you here at the bottom left of the screen, circled in red. Once you click on the parcel ID number, you'll then enter a security code to be able to move forward to prove that you're not hacking into the system or a computer. And what you'll do is just enter the characters that you see in white on the black field to the left. You'll enter them into the text box to the right, and then you'll click the button that says continue. That's going to then take you to the summary information about your property. There's 3 components here that we're going to go over, and we'll then go over one of them in a little more depth. At the top, you'll first see basic property information. You'll see the photograph that's on file, the parcel ID, address, etc. Underneath the picture, you'll see what's called dwelling information. And to the right, you'll see what is the assessment information for the 22-23 year. This information on the right is actually what you're appealing. Now in this example, you'll see the property has a market value of $461,000, which creates an assessed value of $461. That's what we're appealing in this example. Let's take a look at dwelling information, which has some fields that we can change. Now you'll notice under the dwelling information is the style and the construction, and then some information that you can take a look at and ensure that it's correct. For example, the year it was built, the square footage of the lot, the living area, how many bathrooms, and those kind of things. Now, these values can be changed if you notice that there are mistakes in there. What you would do is you would change the value and then click the button that you see to the right, circled in red, that says Apply Changes. Now, be advised that when you apply these changes, it is for the purpose of the appeal only. It does not permanently change the information on the property card. It's just temporary. To get that permanently changed, you have to contact the Nassau County Department of Assessment. Their number is 516-571-1500. When you dial their number, the way to get a hold of them is to not press any options or extensions. You'll want to hold the line all the way till the end. Okay, once you've made any changes that might be necessary, let's take a look beneath the dwelling information on the left side toward the middle. We're going to click the button that says Find Sales. Now, Sales Locator is then going to give you a list of properties that have sold in your school district. You'll notice that the property example that we're using is at the top, and when you do this, your property will be at the very top of the list. And the reason this is because your property is now the basis of comparison that the other properties are being compared to. Sales Locator will allow you to select up to 5 homes to compare to yours, no more than 5. So you'll choose the ones that you want to compare by checking the check boxes. You can see that we've checked some examples on the left side of the screen. We've circled that in yellow. When you've selected the properties you want to compare, you'll then click the button at the bottom of the list that says Select Check Properties and Continue. Then Sales Locator is going to give you a summary of just the comparison. Now you'll see that your property, or the example one here, has been moved to the left-hand side, and the comparable properties are moved to the right. Sales Locator makes automatic adjustments to the prices of the other homes. Well, what does that mean? For example, if a property you're comparing yourself to has a bathroom, an extra bathroom or half bath that your property does not have, Sales Locator will do an adjustment and lower the value of that property. In the same manner, if you had an extra bathroom that that property didn't have, it would add value to make them more comparable. Now you'll notice at the bottom, we've circled adjusted price in yellow. And I'd like you to look right above that on the 3 properties we're comparing. And there's an item there that says weight. And you'll notice there's percentages in the box that says weight. And those are changeable. The reason those are changeable is, let's say one of these 3 properties is most like yours and the other 2 are like yours but a little less so. You can actually change the weight to alert us which property you feel is most like yours. So for example, you could put one property at 50% and the other 2 at 25 each, as long as it adds up to 100% in total. You don't have to do that, but you may. After you've done that, if you choose, you're going to then click the button at the very bottom that says Continue. Now there'll be a disclaimer that you'll see that informs you that Sales Locator is not an official appraisal or an official opinion on the value of your property by the Assessment Review Commission. You have to click I agree and proceed. You have to acknowledge the disclaimer to continue forward. After you do that, Sales Locator will show you a summary of the adjusted prices of the 3 comparable homes. You'll then click Continue to submit an appeal, and that will take you directly into the appeal application. Now, Sales Locator, we're going to notice throughout the rest of this presentation, will automatically bring information over into the appeal application for you. But to get started, we're first going to click the drop down kind of toward the middle of the page where it says, what is the type of property? And you'll select an AR1 for a residential 1, 2, or 3 family home or a condominium. Now here are just 2 examples where Sales Locator has brought over information, Part B and Part E. It's automatically brought some stuff over for us, and we're going to look at that more in depth here in a moment. Okay, back to the top of the application. Throughout the application, you'll notice little question marks that we have next to certain fields, and those are there to assist you. If you're unsure about what we're asking for on the application, you can hover your mouse over the question mark and a yellow box will pop up and give you a greater explanation of what we're asking for. In this particular example, the taxpayer applicant's name. Okay, so back to the top of the appeal. We've selected the drop-down for the type of property, and then we see that Sales Locator has already brought things over into Part A, which is required, of the application for us. For example, you can see that it's brought over the parcel ID, the picture of the property, the address, and the name of the owner on the roll. Then you'll fill in the rest of Part A. The taxpayer applicant's name, that's you. Property owners, if you're not the sole owner. Now this one is important. I like to advise folks that if they are married or have a partner that owns the home with them, or any other situation where they might want to have a co-owner be able to speak with us about the appeal, it's very important to put their name in here with you. Now, it will not change anything on the roll if there is a single owner on the tax roll, but it will authorize the Assessment Review Commission to speak to that person about the appeal. We can only speak to someone whose name is on the appeal. So if your spouse or partner's name is not on the appeal and they were to call, we would not be able to review information with them. After you fill in that, you'll then click the drop-down box where it says Form and select what's appropriate, in this case, Individual. Part B of the application is also required. In this example, where it says applicant estimates and requests that the assessment be reduced based on a full market value of, Sales Locator has brought in the average price of the 3 comparable sales for you. Now, this particular box, you don't have to stick with that number. You can put into Part B whatever you believe the property is worth. You don't need to put in any dollar signs or a decimal place. Just whatever you think the property is worth. You'll then answer the next question. Is the property offered for sale or under contract? Yes or no? And if it's under sale, offered for sale or under contract, you'll enter the price. Part C is already taken care of for you, so we can move right on past it. Now, Part D is something that homeowners sometimes forget or ignore, but we feel it's rather important and helpful for you. When you first look at the appeal application, Part D will not be displayed. Look to the left of the screen. Part D will be minimized and you'll see a pink button that says Display. Click the button that says Display and that will open this up. Everything in Part D is optional. So if it's something you don't want to tell us about, you don't have to. However, Part D is important because it allows you to tell us contextual information that may lower the value of your property. For example, you might have an eyesore or be close to commercial property. That's something beyond your control that could reduce the value. Or maybe you live next to the railroad. That's great if you're a commuter, but it could also create a noise issue or create a parking issue because of other commuters parking near your home. So any contextual items like this you would want to let us know about. You can also type in more information into the box there at the bottom that says Other Facts. Now, Part E, which is comparable sales, is also optional. However, in this example, we'll notice that Sales Locator has automatically brought over the properties we were comparing and entered them into the application for us. The application will allow you a maximum of 10 comparable properties. It'll bring over the ones from Sales Locator, which will only bring over a maximum of 5. And then if you have any, if you've done less than 10, it'll provide you a blank box that you can enter one in manually if you like, that you might have gotten from another source, maybe Zillow, Realtor.com, or whatever. The way you would find that property would be similar to how you had found your own. You would click the magnifying glass and enter the property's address in the same manner, the number, the name of the street, and the zip code. Then you would find the property and parcel ID and click on it, and it would enter. Then you would just merely enter the sale date and price and any comments that you might have. Now, for comparable properties, we usually, as a recommendation, recommend that a homeowner uses 3 to 5 comparable sales. We are almost done. This is so easy. Application Part F is also required, and it's essentially signing the application. Once again, you'll enter the security code by retyping the letters into the box. You're then going to select the drop-down of who is signing the form. In most cases, it will be owner of record. And then you'll click the button that says Submit Application Form. Okay, let's say we made a mistake and we didn't fill out something that the application required. The system will automatically let you know that there's an error. You'll see a message at the top of the application letting you know where the errors are. In this example, parts A and B. Then inside of those parts, the individual sections where there's an error will be highlighted in red for you. All you have to do is correct those and then submit the application. Once you've successfully submitted the application, the system will give you a message letting you know that it's successful, and it will give you the application number. You can make changes to the application all the way up until the due date of April 30th. The system will also automatically send you an email confirmation that you've submitted your appeal. And again, this is why we want to check the email and make sure this did not go to spam. There are a couple of extra options that we can talk about now. Once you've successfully submitted the application, you can add attachments to it. You can't do that while you're filling it out. You have to submit it first. But once you have the application number as a confirmation, you can add attachments. You might want to add photographs of something that you're explaining to us, maybe an appraisal, or other documents. You would do that by clicking right beneath the application number where it says View or Add Attachments. Since you haven't added anything yet, it'll tell you that there's no documents found, and would you like to add one? And you'll click Yes. Now, to add a file with the application, you have to have that already saved on your computer. So first, you'll click the button that says Choose File. You'll then navigate to where you have the attachment saved, and you're going to double click on it. Then you'll choose the type of document from the drop-down, such as a comparable, correspondence to us, or a map. Then you'll click Submit Attachment. Let's say we added something incorrectly. We were trying to send photos of commercial property, and instead we sent photos of a birthday party. You can actually delete that document. You'll see the document that you've attached right there in the list. In this example, it says Test, and to the right, you'll see a button that says Delete Document. When you're done attaching whatever you'd like to attach, you can just click the button that says Return to Appeal Form. Now remember, you can add attachments to your online application up until the due date of the 30th of April. After that, if you were to need to add something or delete something, you would need to mail us a request to do so with any additional documentation. The address is here for you. You would mail that to the Assessment Review Commission, 240 Old Country Road, 5th floor, Mineola, New York, 11501. Attention, residential supervisor. Now, after we've clicked Return to Appeal Form, when we've uploaded our documents and attachments, there's something that's a little different now that we're going to see on the form, and this is important. Look at the appeal form in Part A where there's the picture of the house. To the right of the house is the address, and then the name on the roll. And to the right of that, we now have a little item that says Status in orange. And now that we've submitted the appeal, the status will show Received. You can check the status of your appeal at any time by logging into the system and going to the application. If it says Received or Pending, that means we're still working on the application form and our answer for you. And if you see a yellow box that says Review Communications, that means we have correspondence for you to take a look at. Okay, now that we've talked about how to file using Sales Locator, let's talk about filing without using Sales Locator. A lot of this is going to be the same information and a bit of a review. You can get directly to the appeal application without using Sales Locator by clicking either of the two links that we have circled in red. There's one on the left-hand side with the rest of the links that says File and Appeal. And there's one toward the bottom that says File and Appeal Online. Now, once again, the first thing that we'll do is select the type of property, an AR1, from the drop-down. Now we're going to get started with getting our property into Part A of the application. Remember, Part A is required. We're going to click the magnifying glass, and again, we're going to search for our property by entering the house number, the name of the street only, and the zip code. Then click the parcel ID. You can see that example to the bottom right of your screen, and that will bring the property information into the form for you. Now we're going to finish the rest of Part A, the taxpayer's applicant's name, any co-owners if applicable, and the type of form, individual, from the drop-down box. Part B is also a required portion of the application. So once again, you'll enter what you believe the property to be worth in the box. And you'll answer the question, yes or no, is the property offered for sale or under contract? Once again, Part C is taken care of, and you can just skip on past it. Part D that we went over before, again, it's optional, but if you click Display, you can open it up and tell us of any contextual information. Maybe you live on a busy road, and so there's a lot of traffic noise or parking difficulties. Any contextual information that might reduce the value of your property, you would want to let us know about it. Part E, recent sales of similar houses, is again optional, and you can enter those in manually if you'd like to. When you do the application in this method, you'll have one box for a parcel to enter, and again, we're going to search it by clicking the magnifying glass. Once we enter that one, a new blank one will appear beneath it. Of course, Part F, just as before, is a required part of the application. You'll enter in the security code by retyping the letters into the text box, select the type of individual doing the certification from the dropdown. When you're ready, you'll click the button that says Submit the application form. If we've made any mistakes, again, the system will let us know. You'll see an error message that lets you know what part the error is in, and the individual boxes will be highlighted in red for you. Just correct those, and then you can submit the application. Once you've submitted successfully, you'll receive the application number confirmation, and you receive the email to your account confirming the appeal has been successfully submitted. Let's talk about how to make changes to the appeal once the appeal has been filed. First, you'll log into Arrow, and then you'll look for the link on the left-hand side that says Appeal Filing Status Change. Click that link. Now, you'll have to search for your appeal. The easiest way to do that is first, toward the center of the screen, you'll see the boxes that you can fill in. The first thing you'll do is select the appropriate tax year. For this appeal, you're going to want to look for 22/23. Then enter the appeal number or the application number and search for the appeal. Once you've clicked search for the appeal, it will then give you a list of what you filed. The application number is a link, and you'll click on that link. We have it circled in red for you toward the bottom left. Now, when we go into the appeal, after filing it, we can make changes as we've discussed. And the way you would do that is go to the individual section, the individual part that you would like to make a change. So let's say you wanted to make a change here in Part B with how much you believe the property is worth. You would just change the value that you have, and then there's a button at the top of the part that says Submit Changes. Once you've made the change, you just click the button that says Submit Changes. Changes can only be made up until the deadline of April 30th. You can also, at that time, still add attachments. At the top of the application, you would see a button that says ARC Communications and Attachments. You would click that. Then go through a similar process to upload a new document by clicking Upload a New Document. What if you had to withdraw the appeal? And why? The most common reason a homeowner would need to withdraw an appeal is if they had accidentally filed twice for the same property. The Assessment Review Commission can only accept a single application for a given property. So if you had a duplicate application, one of those would have to be withdrawn. You would navigate to the appeal, and to the left, underneath the parcel ID and the picture of the property, you'd see a button that says Withdraw Appeal. You would click the button that says Withdraw Appeal, and a pop-up will then come up warning you that it's not something that you can change. Once you withdraw the appeal, it will be gone. You cannot go back on that. And I forgot to mention this before, but when using the Arrow system, we do advise that you disable the pop-up blockers on your computer. So you would click Withdraw Appeal, Then the disclaimer would pop up and you would click agree. The system will then give you a message that the application was successfully withdrawn, similar to how it gives you error messages. And then you will note the status to the right of the picture and the name in orange has now changed to withdrawn. Okay, we'd like to take some time to answer questions that you might have. And to help get us started with that, I'd like to introduce the Vice Chair of the Assessment Review Commission, Mr. Jeremy May.
Well, thank you, Jason, and good evening, everybody. I don't know why I have an echo. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. So yes, I wanted to join Jason during the Q&A session just to make sure that we had the broadest perspective possible to answer all of your questions as completely as possible. At the moment, it looks like everyone agrees that Jason did a pretty fantastic job of the presentation because we have a minimum amount of questions at the moment. But while I do take the question that we do have, I encourage everybody to utilize that Q&A feature for anything else that you might be thinking about. And let's go ahead and take the question that we do have. So there's a concern that if one files an appeal, that it's possible that that appeal process can in some way harm you. And the answer to that is a flat no. The Assessment Review Commission has no authority to increase an assessment during the appeal process. The absolute worst thing that can happen if you file an appeal with the Assessment Review Commission is that we agree that the Department of Assessment's value is not too high and thus leave it undisturbed. So we can either just say no and leave the value flat, or we can disagree with the Department of Assessment and offer a reduction. We have zero authority to increase an assessment. So while Jason and I take the next few minutes waiting for any additional questions that may come in, I'll take a moment to again thank Jason for putting on the presentation, thank our colleague Rob, who's assisting us behind the scenes, and of course to thank Legislator Drucker for inviting us all to speak with you this evening. I'd also like to reiterate that if for whatever reason we end our presentation for this evening and you have a question afterwards, that you can contact ARC at the information listed on the slide during our business hours, and our customer service team, including Jason, will be happy to assist you. And I'll also reiterate that if you are filling out the application, that this video or a version of it will be available on Legislator Drucker's website, and we also have a shorter version available on ARC's homepage that may assist you with getting over any one hump and landing you where you need to be to deal with anything that you're looking at. And while I was going ahead and reiterating those facts, it looks like we have a couple more questions that came in. Okay, so we have, yes, we do in fact have a couple more questions. One of them is whether someone is allowed to view an appeal made on their behalf by a tax reduction company. The answer is yes. I would certainly recommend that you start by asking the company for the appeal that they filed on your behalf. You have hired them to perform a service for you, and I would hope that they would agree to share with you the work that they have done for you. But in the event that they are not cooperative or you're not comfortable asking them for that, you can ask our agency for copies of appeals that were filed on your property in previous years. If you need to know how to do that, you can do that through our homepage and the FOIL tab. That's FOIL. It's an acronym, so it's all in capitals. So that's askarcnassau.com. And in the left-hand taskbar, you would go to the FOIL page to ask for any previous appeals filed on your behalf. Okay, this is a question regarding sales locator or just research in general and what kind of properties one should be looking to compare their own home to. And the answer is that you want to compare your property to homes that have sold and are as similar to your own as they possibly can be. A comparable sale is going to be more persuasive and more of use to you in your application, the more like your own home it is. So the more boxes you can tick off that are similar or identical to your own home, the better off you're going to be. That includes style, gross living area, lot size, fixtures like bathroom counts, basement and basement types. If you have an in-ground pool, you would want to try and find homes that also have in-ground pools. Absolutely every similarity that you can point to in a sale is just going to make that sale more persuasive as part of an application. You want to avoid, to the extent possible, comparing your home to a home that is dissimilar to yours. Because while the sales locator is capable of making adjustments to an extent, the more dissimilar a property is to your own, the less persuasive it's going to be in an application to reduce the assessment on your own home. So at this time, that is all of the questions that were posted in the Q&A. Jason and I and the team don't need to go running away just yet, so we're happy to wait a few more minutes for any additional questions that anyone thinks of. In the event that we've managed to help everyone this evening, I'm glad. And if no further questions come in, we will bid everyone a good evening and a good weekend.
I'm back. I want to just thank you very much this evening, Robert and Jason, Greg May. Jeremy May. Thank you so much for doing this. You know, you're doing work that's really, really important, and I'm so grateful that you can do this for the constituents of my district.
Thank you very much, Legislator. And just so everyone knows, my brother Gregory also works for the county, so I don't blame the legislator all that much.
Yeah, the May name is something on everyone's tongue a lot of times. So, but it's all for good reasons. You guys do great work, both of you. So
thank you very much, Legislator.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So thanks very much, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you. All right, folks, having waited a couple more minutes for those questions and not necessarily seeing any more of them, we hope that we were able to help you this evening, and we bid you a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much.